everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today for January's Roll of Reads. So Roll of Reads is the game that I play every single month to determine what my TBR will be throughout the month. I have recently made a video which goes through the gameplay, the rules, talks about rewards, punishments, what prompts there are, all of that sort of thing. So if you'd like to acquaint yourself with all of that information, then I will link that in the description below so you can go and watch that video and get up to date with how everything's going to work. And also, if you have been around for a while and you've seen me play this game, then I still recommend you go and watch that video because I've made a few changes to the gameplay, so you get to know what is going to be happening in 2022 with regards to Roll of Reads. So as it is January 2022, I decided that I wanted to start off the new year with a completely clean slate, so I'm not rolling any punishments over or anything like that. It's going to be an entirely clean slate. So yeah, that's what we're going to go with today. In previous videos, I would always talk through any books that I had to read from my own book club, the Last to Read book club, or any read-alongs or book clubs that I wanted to join in with throughout the month. But I'm actually going to do that at the end of the video going forward in 2022. So I'll go through, do the gameplay, see what comes out, and then if there's anything left over that I haven't mentioned, I'll talk about that at the end of the video. So just quickly, if you have been around for a little while, the main thing that you need to know that I have changed is that rather than rolling a 12-sided dice to determine how many books I'll have to read throughout the month, I will be rolling an 8-sided dice to determine how many books I will have to read throughout the month. The main reason that I've decided to make that change is because with the 12-sided dice, I just found that when I rolled high, which was usually, I would end up with any punishments obviously is added on, and then any extra books that I wanted to read, I was finding that I just wasn't able to get to them. Some of the bigger books that I want to read, I wasn't able to get to, so it just felt more manageable to drop it down to 8. So, with all of that being said, let's go now and set up the board and roll the 8-sided dice. Alright, so let's shuffle the cards. I have given them a decent shuffle before we started, so it's not like this won't be the full shuffle. Alright, and let's get them out. Okay, and we'll put these over here. Now we need to roll the 8-sided dice to find out how many rolls we're going to have to do. You ready? 7. Okay, so as you just saw, I have 7 rolls that I have to do. Of course, if I roll the same number 3 times, or if I roll a 1, then I have to add rolls. So we could end up with more, but for the moment, we're starting out with 7 rolls that I have to do. So let's go ahead and do the first roll. Roll number 1 with the 20-sided dice is 10. Number 10, a reread. Nice. And replace the card. Okay, so roll number 1, I got the card reread, which is actually perfect because for my in real life book club, the Book into Film Club, I will be reading Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. The Book into Film Club is a book club that I run where we read a book and then watch an adaptation of that book. So we are starting out the year with Rebecca. I've read Rebecca before, but it's been quite a while since I've read it, so I'm really, really excited to reread it. I feel like I was quite young when I read it the first time, so I'd like to see what I think of it this time. So this is a gothic thriller novel. We follow an unnamed protagonist, and she has recently married a man she hasn't known for very long. They go off to his estate, Mandalay, and some weird stuff starts happening, and it all centers around his ex-wife, Rebecca. That's pretty much all I remember. that's all I'm going to say. That's all I really want to know. Lots of people on BookTube love this book. I've been hearing about how amazing it is for quite a while. It is Ellie from Earl Grey Books' one of her favourite books. So I'm really excited to give it a reread and yeah, see what all the fuss is about. Alright, that was roll number 1. Let's go now and do roll number 2. Alright, roll number 2 is 10 again. Whoops. So remember, if we get up to 3 numbers the same, we'll have to redo. Second chance. Okay. Replace the card. I forgot to say that we got the number 10 for the first roll, and as you just saw, we got the number 10 for the second roll. So hopefully I don't get any more 10s. And for the second roll, I got Second Chance. So this means a book that I previously DNF'd or did not finish or put down or wasn't in the mood for, so I have to give a book a second chance. The book that I've decided to go with is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. People who've been paying close attention will know that this was one of the books that I said I was going to unhaul in my 500 subscriber video where I did an unhaul challenge, and I do still intend to unhaul the book. I just haven't actually got around to taking it anywhere to unhaul it. So it's still sitting in a pile with all the books I'm going to unhaul. And when this one came up, I thought this was a perfect opportunity. So the reason I'm unhauling it is I tried to read it in December last year, and I just think I really wasn't in the right frame of mind for it. This is quite a complex book. There's a lot going on, and I really found that I just didn't get what was going on. I was really confused and I couldn't really get into it. But this is a lot of people's favourite books, and I've heard that it's absolutely amazing. So since I happen to still have it in the house, I thought that I might as well give it a second chance. I loved The Priory of the Orange Tree. As you see, it's up here in my favourite shelf, so I really want to give Samantha Shannon's books a try. But what I think I'm going to do is there is actually a novella that takes place, I'm not sure if it takes place before this book or what the situation is. I think it might be. I'm pretty sure it's called The Pale Dreamer. And it supposedly actually gives you quite a lot of backstory about what's actually going on in the society that this is set in. So I think I'll read that first because I think that should hopefully give me more understanding, which was my main problem. Insofar as the unhauling part goes, I'll just see how I go. If I end up loving it, then I'll probably keep it and potentially get the rest. But honestly, I don't have to own books to read them. So I can read this one and then, you know, if I think it's worthwhile finishing the series, I can borrow it from the library. So yeah, that's my second chance book that I'm going to read in January. I just realised I didn't tell you anything of what it's about. That's honestly because I really don't entirely know. Set in London, it's set in like a dystopian London. There are different what are there? Different clairvoyants. But clairvoyancy is outlawed, so this main character, Paige, is a clairvoyant, and so she is a kind of underground clairvoyant, and then one day she is taken to prison, except that it's not at all what she expects. Honestly, that is as far as I got into the book, and that's about as much as I've ever heard anyone say about it. So we'll just see how we go. Alright, let's go do roll number 3. Roll again. 19. A non-fiction. Alright, that's pretty cool. Replace the card. And for roll number 3, I rolled a 19. Phew! And that gave me non-fiction. So this is perfect because I have been really enjoying joining in with Chloe from Chloe Reads Books book club called Chloe's Crime Scene Corner. Every month she alternates between either true crime or something kind of dark in the fiction oeuvre. So I've been really enjoying joining in that. So far I've only joined in on the non-fiction reads. In January it is a non-fiction, and let me just look it up to see what it is called. So it is Death Row, The Final Minutes by Michelle Lyons. So this is a account of a death row witness. I'm assuming they're employed to witness the experience, death row and the people getting killed, so that, I guess, to make sure that it's ethical and legal and all of that. And it is it's the experience of all those different deaths and witnessing that. I think it will be really harrowing and quite upsetting, but I think it'll be really interesting. Like I said, I've been really enjoying the books we've been reading. When I say enjoying, I mean, that's probably the wrong word, but they've been really interesting and I'm enjoying being part of the club. So I'm happy to have non-fiction because it enables me to continue and read this month's, January's, book. So let's go now and do roll number 4. 11. A retelling. Okay, that's good as well. Like a retelling. Replace the card. So as you just saw, roll number 4, I got number 11, and that was a retelling. Again, this is absolutely fantastic because it allows me to join another book club that I really, really want to join in on, and that is the Recreate book club. So this is a book club that is starting up in January and is going to be run by Becca from the Becca Fowl, Ashley from Ashley's Media Addiction, and Rachel from Rattle the Stars. And the first book that they are starting with that I would love to read is Law by Alexandra Bracken. So this is a retelling, as you may be able to tell from the cover of Medusa, of the myth of Medusa. As far as I know, it is actually a sort of more modern retelling, so it takes the myth and places it into a modern situation. So it says, in modern day New York, a murderous game is about to begin, the Agon. Every 7 years, for 1 week only, Zeus punishes the gods and makes them mortal. Forced to walk the earth, they are savagely hunted by the descendants of ancient bloodlines who are eager to kill a god and seize their divine power and immortality. I'm not going to read any more than that. I think that is more than enough to pique my interest and to give you guys some idea of what this is about. But yeah, it sounds really, really interesting. I have heard mixed reviews about it, but it sounds like the kind of thing that I would really, really love. So I'm really excited to read it. So I'm excited that the opportunity came up when I saw the Recreate book club, and I'm super excited that I was able to fit it onto my TBR. So that is the next book I'll be reading. Roll number 5 now. All right. 5th roll. Number 20, yeah, that's what we like to see. And it is Twitter poll. Okay, cool. We don't have to do that. We don't want to. Let's replace the card. Roll number 5, and I rolled a 20, starting the year off really, really strong with a crit. So, yay! Thank goodness for that. That's absolutely amazing. As you saw, I got Twitter poll, but as I may have said, I don't think I'm going to do a Twitter poll. I've decided instead that I'm going to use that because that's what I can do with a 20. I can do essentially anything I want. So I'm going instead to use this as a chance to include The Toll by Neal Shusterman. So this is the 3rd and final book in the Arc of the Scythe trilogy, and this is a book that we'll be reading for the Last to Read book club, which is my book club that I run with Lana from Lore and Lullabies and Ellie from Earl Grey Books. So yeah, this is the final book in the Arc of the Scythe trilogy. I am not going to read the blurb because I really want to be surprised by this book. I'm a little bit intimidated because I've heard that this isn't as strong as the first one. I loved Scythe so much, so I'm super excited to read it. I'm hoping I will enjoy it. But yeah, I'm super excited to read it. So the trilogy is about humanity has cured everything, basically, including death. So people no longer die of natural causes because when they do, they can be regenerated. But that has led to the problem of there being too many people in the world. So in order to combat overpopulation, they started this organisation called the Scythedom, and different scythes are in charge of gleaning people or killing them in order to keep population under control. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this final book and see what all it's about. So thank you for the 20 for allowing me to include this one. Alright, let's go do our 6th roll. I think we're on roll number 6, yes we are. Is a 9. A face on the cover. Oh, alright, interesting. For roll number 6, I got a 9, which gave me the card Face on the cover, which I've somehow managed to completely lose track of. But anyway, Face on the cover. I've actually decided, I don't know if this is cheating or not. It does have a face on the cover, as you can see from the picture I'll put just here. I'm going to be reading When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain by Nghi. It does have a face on the cover. It has a tiger's face on the cover. I didn't specify that it had to be human face, so that still works, but I feel like I'm cheating. But I'm not. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to read When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain by Nghi. This works out perfectly because if you watch my 2021 and 2022 goals video, you would know that I have included in the little game, the way that I monitor my reading, I've included in that the buzzword challenge. So this is a reading challenge that is created by Kayla from Books and Lala. Basically, she has a word or a few different words or a type of word that has to be in the title for every single month, and that's how you do the buzzword challenge. It seems like really, really fun. I haven't done it before, but I have decided I'd like to do it this year. And in January, you have to read a book that has the words who, what, when, where, why, or how. So, When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain has when in it. It's also really, really short, so yeah, it should fit in quite well. It's the second book in a series. The first one was The Empress of Salt and Fortune. I had mixed feelings about the first one. I thought it was interesting, but I was a bit confused, but I'm intrigued enough to read, so I'm hoping that, that I enjoy the second one. What is it about? It is we follow a monk who is travelling around learning different stories about the past, and they travel to a temple and they meet someone who has lots of stories, used to know a particular empress who's known as the Empress of Salt and Fortune, and so that person is telling them lots of different stories about the empress. That's basically what happened in the first book. We'll see what happens in the second book. Unless I roll a 1 for this next roll, then this is the final roll. So let's go do that now. Final roll, we hope. Of course I would say that. It's a 1, as you see. So 1 is inspired a movie you've seen. Okay. Why did I say that? Of course I rolled a 1. I rolled a 1 and I got inspired a movie you've already seen. For this one, I've actually decided to go really, really old school and read The Bone Collector, which I don't know who wrote. It will be here, so you'll see it. This is a movie that stars Angelina Jolie and Denzel Washington. It, I think, was created in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. I really, really enjoyed it. I've watched it a few times now, and it's based on a book, and I would really like to read it, so that's what I'm going to do. So this is a story about a very young, I'm not sure if she's a detective or if she's just a beat cop, but either way, a very young kind of new officer, and she is called to the scene of a crime, and in that situation, she proves herself to be very capable of figuring out clues and very observant and, potentially a great detective. So I don't think she's a detective, I think she's just a beat cop. Anyway, there is a really fantastic, well-known detective who has had an accident and has become a quadriplegic and is still quite ill, and so isn't capable to go out on the field, but he's assigned to the case because he's still very amazing at the job, and so he kind of takes her under his wing as a person out in the field, and that's basically they go ahead and solve crimes. So I've always really loved the movie, so I'd love to read the book, and that's what I'm going to do. And now, hopefully, really properly, final roll. Hopefully, actually final roll. A 6. So it is the final roll, and that is a friend picks. So I rolled a 6, which fortunately is my only 6, which means that this is in fact my final roll. And for final roll, I got a friend picks. So I actually messaged Paige from Pages with Paige, sent her my owned TBR shelf on Goodreads, and she chose for me The Dictionary of Lost Words by Pip Williams. I'm actually going to read the blurb to you because I think this is something that I'm going to struggle to explain. So, 1901, the word bondmaid was discovered, missing from the Oxford English Dictionary. This is the story of the girl who stole it. Motherless and irrepressibly curious, Esme spends her childhood in the Scriptorium, a garden shed in Oxford, where her father and a team of lexicographers are gathering words for the very first Oxford English Dictionary. Esme's place is beneath the sorting table, unseen and unheard. One day she sees a slip containing the word bondmaid flutter to the floor unclaimed. Esme seizes the word and hides it in an old wooden trunk that belongs to her friend, Lizzie, a young servant in the big house. Esme begins to collect other words from the scriptorium that are misplaced, discarded, or have been neglected by the dictionary men. They help her make sense of the world. Over time, Esme realizes that some words are considered more important than others, and that words and meanings relating to women's experiences often go unrecorded. She begins to collect words for another dictionary, the Dictionary of Lost Words. I think that sounds really, really fascinating and really, really interesting. I assume that Paige picked this book for me because she's read it and really enjoyed it, although I didn't actually double check that with her. But yeah, I'm really excited that Paige chose this book for me to read, so thank you so much, Paige, for picking this book for me. But yeah, this is the book that I will be reading. So this is my final pick for my roll of reads. I do have one more book that I wanted to show you, and that is this one here. Hello everybody, Editing Mel here. There has been a slight change of plan since I actually recorded this TBR game. And this book that you are seeing right now is the book that Ellie and I were going to read as part of our buddy read of the Discworld novels. Ellie has decided that she'd like to take a bit of a break for a while, so I won't be reading Eric in January. The other thing is that I forgot to mention that I actually have one more book that I will be reading. So instead of Eric, I will be reading Muse of Nightmares, which is the second book in the Strange the Dreamer duology by Laini Taylor. So this is the book that Alison and I are buddy reading. In December, we've been buddy reading Strange the Dreamer, so in January, we'll be buddy reading Muse of Nightmares. I won't go into detail about what the book is about because it is the second book in a duology. But yeah, that is the differences that I needed to mention. So anyway, I'll send you back to the video now. The 4 physical books from the TBR, plus we have 4 ebooks to add to the TBR, and then Eric on top there. So that's the TBR for January. So that's it from me today. That's all the books I will be reading in the month of January. That was my January roll of reads. Please comment below if you have any thoughts on any of the books that I'll be reading. If you have read any of the books, what you thought of them. Let me know if you'll be joining the Last to Read book club or any of the other clubs that I have decided to join in with this month as well. Or really anything else that you'd like to comment below, please do so. If you'd like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then in honour of Medusa here, leave me a snake emoji. All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go and follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.